Welcome to Unsolved Historical Mysteries. Did humanity really land on the moon? Investigating the Apollo Conspiracy Theories. Chapter 1: What was the Apollo program? Humanity's first challenge to land on the moon. Section 1: The Cold War space race that gave birth to the Apollo program. The Apollo program was born out of one of the most intense rivalries in modern history, the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a fierce competition for global dominance, and this rivalry extended into space. The space race began in 1957 when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the world's first artificial satellite. This achievement shocked the United States, sparking fears of Soviet superiority in both technology and military capabilities. In response, the U.S. rapidly expanded its space efforts, founding NASA in 1958 to coordinate its ambitions. The stakes rose even higher in 1961, when Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit Earth. This prompted President John F. Kennedy to issue a bold challenge: land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade's end. His speech in 1961 not only set a clear goal, but also symbolized a battle of ideologies between democracy and communism. The Apollo program became a symbol of hope and determination for the American people. With billions of dollars in funding, NASA brought together some of the world's greatest minds to achieve what seemed impossible. Beyond science, the program represented unity and progress during a time of social and political turmoil. For America, the moon landing wasn't just a mission. It was a declaration of global leadership and a triumph of human innovation. Section 2: The mission and significance of Apollo 11. The Apollo 11 mission marked a historic milestone, not only for the United States, but for all of humanity. On July 16, 1969, NASA launched the spacecraft from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, carrying astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. The mission's objective was straightforward yet extraordinary: to land on the moon, collect samples, and return safely to Earth. After traveling over 380,000 kilometers, the spacecraft entered lunar orbit. On July 20, 1969, Armstrong and Aldrin descended to the moon's surface aboard the lunar module, Eagle. As Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface, he spoke the now iconic words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." These words symbolized not just the technical achievement, but the hope and curiosity of people worldwide. Meanwhile, Collins orbited above in the command module, ensuring their safe return. The mission's success was monumental. It demonstrated the power of human ingenuity and collaboration, proving that even the most ambitious goals were achievable. More than 600 million people watched the moonwalk on live television, making it a unifying event for a world often divided by political and cultural differences. For NASA, Apollo 11 validated years of hard work and risk-taking, solidifying its place as a leader in space exploration. The mission inspired generations to dream bigger and laid the foundation for future exploration beyond our planet. Section 3: The global impact of the moon landing at the time. The Apollo 11 moon landing was not just an American achievement. It was a moment that captured the imagination of the entire world. On July 20, 1969, over 600 million people across the globe tuned in to watch live broadcasts of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walking on the lunar surface. At a time when humanity was divided by the Cold War, social upheavals, and political tensions, the moon landing offered a rare moment of unity and collective celebration. For many, this event was a symbol of hope. It demonstrated what humans could accomplish when they put aside differences and worked toward a shared goal. Even in nations politically opposed to the United States, there was widespread admiration for the technological and scientific breakthroughs required to achieve the lunar landing. The phrase "one giant leap for mankind" resonated universally, emphasizing that this was not just a victory for one country, but a milestone for all of humanity. The cultural impact was profound as well. The moon landing inspired countless works of art, literature, and films, embedding itself into the global psyche. It fueled dreams of space exploration and the possibility of humanity's expansion into the cosmos. For generations to come, the Apollo 11 mission would be remembered as a defining moment in human history, a reminder of what we can achieve when we dare to reach for the stars. Chapter 2: The Birth of Moon Landing Doubts. Section 1: The Rise and Spread of Moon Landing Conspiracy Theories. While the Apollo 11 moon landing was celebrated as a monumental achievement, doubts about its authenticity began to emerge surprisingly soon after the event. The seeds of conspiracy theories were planted in the early 1970s as public skepticism toward government institutions grew during events like the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal. This mistrust provided fertile ground for some to question whether the moon landing had truly occurred. The first major wave of moon landing conspiracy theories can be traced to 1976, when a book titled "We Never Went to the Moon: America's $30 billion Swindle" by Bill Kaysing was published. Kaysing, a former technical writer for a NASA contractor, claimed that the U.S. government had staged the moon landing in a Hollywood-style production. His book suggested that NASA had faked the event to fulfill President Kennedy's promise and to secure America's position as a global superpower. Despite a lack of evidence, these claims resonated with a portion of the public. In the years that followed, conspiracy theories gained traction, fueled by documentaries, media coverage, and later, the Internet. Claims ranged from technical doubts, such as the physics of lunar conditions, to accusations that NASA had used elaborate sound stages to simulate the landing. The more sensational the claims, the more they seemed to capture public attention. By the late 20th century, moon landing conspiracies had become a cultural phenomenon. They were discussed in books, TV specials, and online forums, appealing to those who distrusted official narratives or sought alternative explanations. What began as a niche theory grew into a widespread debate, one that continues to intrigue and divide people to this day. Section 2: The Key Photos and Footage That Fueled Suspicions. Much of the skepticism surrounding the moon landing can be traced back to the photographs and footage captured during the Apollo 11 mission. While these images were intended to showcase humanity's greatest achievement, they inadvertently became a source of doubt for conspiracy theorists. Many pointed to specific details in the visuals as evidence that the moon landing was staged on Earth. One of the most frequently cited anomalies is the famous image of the American flag waving on the moon's surface. Critics argue that the lack of atmosphere on the moon means there should be no wind to make the flag move. In reality, the apparent motion was caused by astronauts twisting the pole as they planted it into the ground, combined with the spring-like structure of the flag itself. Despite NASA's explanation, the image became a focal point for conspiracy theories. Another common point of contention involves the shadows in lunar photographs. Some theorists claim that the shadows appear to be at inconsistent angles, suggesting the use of multiple light sources, like those found in a film studio. However, experts have clarified that the uneven terrain on the moon can distort the appearance of shadows, making them seem irregular. Lastly, many questioned why stars are not visible in any of the Apollo 11 photographs. Conspiracy theorists argued that this omission proved the images were fake. In truth, the bright surface of the moon and the astronauts' reflective suits caused the camera's exposure settings to omit faint objects like stars. This phenomenon is consistent with photography principles and has been replicated in similar conditions on Earth. These visual anomalies, though scientifically explainable, continue to be cited as proof by those who doubt the moon landing. For conspiracy theorists, the images serve as compelling material to question the official narrative. Section 3: Events that brought attention to the conspiracy theories. Several key events played a significant role in bringing moon landing conspiracy theories into the public spotlight. These moments, often tied to the growing mistrust of government institutions, provided fertile ground for such theories to thrive. One pivotal moment was the release of Bill Kaysing's book, We Never Went to the Moon, in 1976. Kaysing's claims, though lacking scientific evidence, appealed to those disillusioned by scandals like Watergate and the Vietnam War. His arguments suggested that the moon landing was staged to fulfill Cold War objectives, making his book a rallying point for skeptics. The media's coverage of his claims helped the idea gain traction, especially among those already critical of government transparency. In the late 1970s and 1980s, television programs began to explore the possibility of a faked moon landing. One infamous example was the 1978 film Capricorn 1, a fictional story about NASA faking a Mars landing. Although it was marketed as entertainment, the movie blurred the line between fiction and reality for some viewers, reinforcing doubts about the Apollo program. These kinds of productions made the idea of a staged moon landing more accessible and believable to the general public. The rise of the Internet in the 1990s marked another turning point. Conspiracy theories that were once confined to niche publications and small groups now had a global platform to spread. Online forums, websites, and later, social media enabled like-minded individuals to share and amplify their beliefs. Claims that were once dismissed as fringe ideas gained wider attention and visibility, creating an entire subculture of moon landing skeptics. These events, coupled with growing distrust in official narratives, ensured that moon landing conspiracy theories remained a topic of public fascination. To this day, they continue to spark debate, highlighting the powerful role of media and cultural events in shaping public perception. Chapter 3: The most common moon landing allegations. Section 1: The waving flag phenomenon and its mystery. One of the most iconic images from the Apollo 11 mission is that of the American flag standing on the lunar surface. However, for conspiracy theorists, this very image has been a cornerstone of their doubts about the moon landing. They argue that the flag appears to wave in the absence of an atmosphere, something that should be impossible on the moon. This perceived inconsistency has been used to claim that the moon landing was staged on Earth, where wind could create such movement. At first glance, the argument may seem compelling, but the phenomenon has a simple scientific explanation. When astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin planted the flag, they twisted the pole into the lunar soil to secure it. This twisting motion caused the flag to ripple, creating the appearance of movement. Additionally, the flag was designed with a horizontal rod at the top to hold it outstretched, giving it the impression of waving. The ripples visible in photographs were the result of the fabric bunching up during the astronauts' handling of the flag. Moreover, videos of the flag clearly show that it remains motionless unless touched by the astronauts. On the Moon, there is no atmosphere to create wind, but there is also no air resistance to dampen movement. This means that any vibrations from handling the flag could persist longer than they would on Earth, further adding to the illusion of waving. Despite these straightforward explanations, the waving flag continues to be one of the most cited proofs by moon landing skeptics. For those determined to believe in a conspiracy, the visual impact of the flag remains a powerful symbol of their doubts, even when the science behind it is clear. Section 2 claims about the unnatural direction of shadows. Another key argument often cited by moon landing skeptics revolves around the shadows seen in photographs taken during the Apollo missions. Conspiracy theorists claim that the shadows appear to fall in different directions, suggesting that multiple light sources, such as studio lighting, were used to fake the images. According to this theory, the inconsistencies in shadow angles are evidence that the moon landing was staged on Earth. While this claim might sound convincing at first glance, it falls apart when examined through the lens of physics and photography. The primary light source on the Moon is the Sun, but the lunar surface itself plays a crucial role in how shadows appear. Unlike Earth, the Moon has no atmosphere to scatter light. This means that shadows can appear sharper and more pronounced, but they can also seem distorted due to the uneven terrain. Rocks, craters, and slopes can all influence the direction and length of shadows, creating the illusion that they are inconsistent. Another important factor is the perspective of the camera. In photography, objects at different distances from the camera can cause shadows to appear to diverge or converge, much like the effect of railroad tracks appearing to meet at the horizon. This optical phenomenon explains why shadows in lunar photos sometimes seem to point in different directions. It's a result of camera angles and the three-dimensional nature of the lunar landscape, not artificial lighting. NASA and independent experts have replicated these shadow effects in controlled experiments, debunking the claims of multiple light sources. Nevertheless, for skeptics, the striking visual contrast of the shadows remains one of the most persuasive pieces of evidence against the moon landing. But for those familiar with the science, the mystery is no mystery at all. It's simply the result of basic physics and the unique environment of the moon. Section 3: The absence of stars in lunar surface photographs. One of the most persistent arguments made by moon landing skeptics is the absence of stars in the photographs taken on the lunar surface. Critics claim that if astronauts truly landed on the moon, the sky, free from Earth's atmosphere, should have been filled with bright, visible stars. The lack of stars in these iconic images is often cited as proof that the photos were staged in a studio under artificial lighting. However, the absence of stars in the Apollo photographs is easily explained by the principles of photography. Cameras, just like human eyes, can only capture a limited range of light at any given time. The lunar surface is bathed in direct sunlight, which is far brighter than the faint light emitted by distant stars. To properly expose the astronauts, the lunar module, and the surface details, the camera settings were adjusted to account for the intense brightness. This meant using a faster shutter speed and a smaller aperture, which effectively excluded the dimmer starlight from being recorded in the images. Furthermore, the same phenomenon can be observed in bright conditions on Earth. For example, when taking a photograph during daylight, stars are not visible in the sky, even though they are present. The extreme contrast between the brightly lit surface and the relatively faint light of stars creates the same effect in lunar photos. Interestingly, Stars were captured during Apollo missions, but not in surface images. Photographs taken during the journey to the Moon, where the spacecraft's cameras were specifically set to capture stars, show them clearly. NASA has also provided explanations and scientific demonstrations to address this skepticism. Despite these clear answers, the absence of stars remains a popular talking point for conspiracy theorists. For many, it represents a seemingly glaring omission. But in reality, it is a well-understood limitation of photographic technology. The moon landing photos were designed to document humanity's greatest achievement, not the stars beyond. Chapter 4: Irrefutable Evidence Presented by Scientists. Section 1: Scientific Explanations for the Flag and Shadow Phenomena. The waving flag and unnatural shadows are two of the most commonly cited pieces of evidence by moon landing skeptics. However, these visual phenomena have been thoroughly examined and explained by scientists and photography experts, revealing that they are entirely consistent with the conditions on the moon. The apparent motion of the American flag, for instance, is often misunderstood. Skeptics argue that the flag appears to wave as if blown by wind, which is impossible on the airless surface of the moon. In reality, the movement was caused by the astronauts themselves. As Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin planted the flag, they twisted the pole into the lunar soil, causing ripples to form in the fabric. Additionally, the flag was supported by a horizontal rod at the top, which held it outstretched and gave it the appearance of movement. On the moon, the lack of air resistance meant that any vibrations from handling the flag persisted longer than they would on Earth, further adding to the illusion of waving. Similarly, the so-called unnatural shadows in lunar photographs can be easily explained by the moon's unique environment. The primary light source on the moon is the sun, but the lunar surface itself plays a significant role in how light behaves. The uneven terrain, marked by rocks, craters, and slopes, distorts the direction of shadows, making them appear inconsistent. Additionally, the lack of an atmosphere means that light is not scattered as it is on Earth, resulting in sharp and exaggerated shadows. Perspective also plays a role. Objects at different distances from the camera can create the illusion that shadows are angled incorrectly, even though they are perfectly consistent with a single light source. These phenomena have been replicated in experiments on Earth, using controlled lighting and terrain models, further debunking claims of staged moon landings. For scientists, these visual anomalies are not mysterious. They are simply the result of basic physics and the unique conditions of the lunar surface. Section 2: Artifacts and Evidence Left on the Lunar Surface by Apollo Missions. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence supporting the authenticity of the Apollo moon landings is the physical artifacts left on the lunar surface. These objects, placed by astronauts during the missions, remain untouched and serve as lasting proof of humanity's presence on the moon. Among the most iconic of these artifacts are the lunar landing modules. Each Apollo mission that reached the moon left behind its descent stage, which acted as a launch platform for the astronauts' return to orbit. These structures are still visible today, and they have been photographed by modern spacecraft, such as NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter (LRO). High-resolution images captured by the LRO even show the astronauts' footprints, equipment, and rover tracks, preserved in the moon's dust, due to the lack of atmosphere and erosion. Another significant artifact is the array of scientific instruments installed by Apollo astronauts. For example, Apollo 11, 14, and 15 missions placed retroreflectors on the lunar surface. These devices reflect laser beams sent from Earth, allowing scientists to precisely measure the distance between the Earth and the Moon. Decades later, these retroreflectors are still functional and used regularly in experiments, providing ongoing confirmation of the Apollo mission's legacy. The lunar rocks and soil samples brought back by the astronauts also offer irrefutable evidence. More than 380 kilograms of material were collected during the Apollo missions, and their composition is unlike anything found on Earth. Analysis of these samples has revealed unique isotopic signatures and a lack of water content, consistent with the Moon's harsh environment. These rocks have been studied by scientists worldwide, and their findings consistently confirm their extraterrestrial origin. These physical artifacts are not just remnants of a historic achievement. They are a tangible reminder of humanity's ability to reach beyond our planet. For those who question the moon landings, the undeniable presence of these objects offers a clear and scientific rebuttal. Section 3: Lunar rocks and samples that prove the landing was real. The lunar rocks and soil samples brought back by the Apollo missions stand as some of the most definitive evidence that humans landed on the Moon. Over 6 missions, NASA astronauts collected 382 kilograms, 842 pounds of lunar material, including rocks, soil, and core samples. These specimens have been meticulously analyzed by scientists around the world, and their unique characteristics confirm their extraterrestrial origin. One of the most striking features of lunar rocks is their composition. Unlike rocks on Earth, lunar samples show no evidence of water or weathering processes, as the Moon has no atmosphere, wind, or liquid water. They contain tiny glass particles formed by micrometeorite impacts, a phenomenon unique to the Moon's harsh environment. Additionally, isotopic analysis of these samples has revealed oxygen isotopes distinct from those found in Earth rocks, further proving that they could not have originated on our planet. Another unique aspect of the lunar samples is the presence of certain minerals, such as armalcolite, which was first discovered during the Apollo missions and named after astronauts Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins. While some of these minerals have since been found on Earth, their composition in lunar rocks remains distinct, reflecting the Moon's unique geological history. The distribution of these samples has also been significant in verifying the authenticity of the Moon landings. NASA shared lunar rocks with international scientists and research institutions, including those in countries not aligned with the United States during the Cold War. These independent analyses all confirmed the samples' lunar origin, creating a global consensus on their authenticity. For skeptics, the suggestion that such large quantities of lunar material could have been faked is implausible. The scientific rigor involved in studying these samples, combined with the international collaboration they facilitated, leaves no doubt about their legitimacy. The lunar rocks remain a tangible legacy of the Apollo missions, and a testament to humanity's ability to explore beyond Earth. Chapter 5: Why do conspiracy theories persist? Section 1: Psychological tendencies that draw people to conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories, including those about the moon landing, have a unique ability to capture the imagination of certain individuals. This is not merely a result of misinformation, but also due to deep-seated psychological tendencies that make people more likely to question official narratives. Understanding these tendencies provides insight into why moon landing conspiracies persist decades after the event. One key factor is the human tendency to seek patterns and meaning, especially in complex or confusing situations. For many, the idea that the Apollo moon landing was a straightforward, scientific achievement seems too simple. They prefer explanations that are dramatic or elaborate. such as the notion that the landing was staged. This tendency, known as pattern recognition, can sometimes lead people to see connections or motives where none exist. Another psychological factor is distrust of authority. Events like the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal eroded public confidence in government institutions, creating fertile ground for conspiracy theories. For some, believing that NASA faked the moon landing as a way to challenge and reject the official version of events. This distrust is often amplified by confirmation bias, the tendency to focus on information that supports one's pre-existing beliefs, while dismissing evidence to the contrary. A third factor is the need for a sense of control in an unpredictable world. Conspiracy theories can offer a sense of order by providing a clear explanation for events that may seem chaotic or overwhelming. For moon landing skeptics, the idea that the event was staged by powerful forces can feel more comprehensible than accepting the immense complexity and uncertainty of space exploration. These psychological tendencies, pattern recognition, distrust of authority, and the need for control, make conspiracy theories appealing to certain individuals. Combined with the media's amplification of these ideas, they create a framework that allows such beliefs to persist, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. Section 2: The role of media and the Internet in spreading suspicions. The media and the Internet have played a critical role in the persistence and growth of moon landing conspiracy theories. What began as a fringe belief in the 1970s gained traction over the decades, largely due to the amplification provided by traditional media and, later, digital platforms. These tools have allowed skepticism about the moon landing to reach a far wider audience than ever before. In the 1970s and 1980s, television documentaries and films planted the seeds of doubt in the public's mind. The 1978 movie Capricorn 1, which depicted a fictional Mars landing hoax, blurred the line between entertainment and conspiracy for some viewers. Around the same time, TV specials explored moon landing doubts, often presenting the claims of conspiracy theorists alongside scientific rebuttals, giving the appearance of equal legitimacy to both sides. This format inadvertently gave skeptics a platform to present their arguments to millions of viewers. The rise of the Internet in the 1990s revolutionized the spread of conspiracy theories. Websites, blogs, and forums dedicated to moon landing skepticism emerged, offering like-minded individuals a place to share ideas and reinforce each other's beliefs. Unlike traditional media, the Internet allowed conspiracy theories to bypass editorial oversight, spreading unchecked claims and misinformation to a global audience. Social media platforms have further accelerated this trend. On sites like YouTube, conspiracy-themed videos often receive millions of views, aided by algorithms that recommend similar content. Platforms like Twitter and Facebook enable the rapid sharing of memes, articles, and videos that fuel skepticism. The ease of access to these platforms means that even casual Internet users can encounter moon landing conspiracies without actively seeking them out. The media and Internet have created an environment where conspiracy theories can thrive by amplifying doubts and providing a global stage for skeptics. These platforms have ensured that questions about the moon landing remain a topic of debate long after the event itself. Section 3: The social and cultural influence of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories, including those surrounding the moon landing, have a profound social and cultural impact. They do more than just question historical events. They shape the way people view authority, science, and even reality itself. These beliefs have woven themselves into the fabric of society, influencing everything from pop culture to public trust in institutions. One significant cultural impact is the way conspiracy theories fuel distrust in authority. The moon landing hoax theory, for example, challenges the credibility of NASA, the US government, and even the global scientific community. When people begin to question the validity of a monumental achievement, like the Apollo missions, it often extends to a broader skepticism of other official narratives. This distrust can erode confidence in science and technology, making it harder to address real-world challenges like climate change or public health crises. In the realm of pop culture, conspiracy theories have become a recurring theme. Movies, TV shows, and books often draw on the idea of a staged moon landing to create dramatic or comedic storylines. While these depictions are usually fictional, they perpetuate the idea that large-scale deceptions are plausible. This, in turn, normalizes skepticism and makes conspiracy theories a more accepted part of mainstream culture. On a social level, conspiracy theories offer a sense of belonging to those who feel disconnected from mainstream narratives. Believing in alternative explanations can create a shared identity among skeptics, fostering tight-knit communities. However, these groups often isolate themselves from opposing viewpoints, reinforcing their beliefs in an echo chamber. This isolation can lead to further polarization, as people align themselves with either believers or skeptics, despite their often negative consequences. Conspiracy theories also highlight the importance of critical thinking and transparency. They remind institutions and governments of the need to earn and maintain public trust. For better or worse, these theories have become a cultural phenomenon, shaping how society processes information and engages with history. Chapter 6: Exploring the truth behind the moon landing from a new perspective. Section 1: International observations and studies verifying the moon landing. While much of the debate surrounding the moon landing has focused on NASA and the United States, it's important to recognize that the Apollo missions were observed and verified by international organizations and countries around the world. These independent observations provide strong evidence that the moon landing was real, as they come from parties with no direct involvement in the Apollo program. During the Apollo 11 mission, tracking stations in several countries played a vital role in monitoring the spacecraft's journey. For example, Australia's Parkes Observatory and the Honeysuckle Creek Tracking Station received live telemetry data and broadcast the iconic footage of Neil Armstrong's first steps on the moon. The involvement of international tracking stations ensures that the data supporting the moon landing was not exclusively controlled by NASA, adding an extra layer of credibility to the mission. In addition to ground-based observations, the Soviet Union, America's primary rival in the space race, also confirmed the moon landing. Soviet scientists tracked the Apollo spacecraft throughout its journey to the moon, using their own equipment to monitor radio transmissions and spacecraft trajectories. Given the intense competition between the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War, it's highly unlikely that the Soviets would have remained silent if they had detected any signs of a hoax. In recent years, lunar missions conducted by other countries have also provided evidence of the Apollo landings. Japan's Selene Kagaya spacecraft, launched in 2007, mapped the moon's surface and identified landing sites from the Apollo missions. Similarly, India's Chandrayaan-2 mission and China's Chang'e program have gathered data that aligns with the presence of artifacts left by Apollo astronauts. These independent confirmations from international organizations and space agencies demonstrate that the moon landing was not an isolated achievement, but a globally verified event. The collective observations and studies from around the world leave no doubt that humans set foot on the moon, proving that this monumental achievement was a reality. Section 2: Evidence from other space missions supporting the Apollo program. In the decades since the Apollo missions, numerous space missions, conducted by other countries and organizations, have gathered evidence that further validates the authenticity of the moon landings. These missions, often carried out independently of NASA, have provided critical data that aligns with the achievements of the Apollo program and supports the reality of humans setting foot on the moon. One significant source of evidence comes from high-resolution images taken by modern lunar orbiters. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter (LRO), launched in 2009, captured detailed photographs of Apollo landing sites. These images clearly show the remnants of the missions, including the lunar module descent stages, rover tracks, and even the astronauts' footprints, preserved in the moon's undisturbed surface. The level of detail in these images is compelling and irrefutable. Other countries' lunar missions have also contributed to this body of evidence. In 2007, Japan's Selene Kagaya spacecraft confirmed the topographical details of the Apollo landing sites. The orbiter's laser altimeter and high-definition cameras mapped the moon's surface, matching features seen in Apollo photographs. Similarly, India's Chandrayaan-2 mission in 2019 and China's Chang'e missions have provided additional data on the moon's geology, corroborating findings from Apollo-era lunar samples. The retroreflectors left on the lunar surface by Apollo astronauts offer yet another line of evidence. These devices, installed during Apollo 11, 14, and 15, reflect laser beams sent from Earth, allowing scientists to measure the distance between the Earth and the Moon with remarkable precision. Decades after their installation, these retroreflectors are still functional and continue to provide valuable data, demonstrating the enduring legacy of the Apollo missions. Together, these findings from modern space missions and lunar research serve as powerful confirmation of the Apollo program's success. They show that the moon landings were not only a scientific triumph of their time, but also a foundation for ongoing exploration and discovery, inspiring new generations of scientists and engineers. Section 3: Scientific achievements as a counterargument to conspiracy theorists. The Apollo program represents one of humanity's greatest scientific achievements, and its success provides overwhelming evidence to counter the claims of conspiracy theorists. The program not only accomplished the monumental task of landing humans on the moon, but also delivered groundbreaking advancements in science, engineering, and technology that continue to shape our world today. One of the most significant achievements of the Apollo missions was the collection and analysis of lunar samples. The 382 kilograms of moon rocks and soil brought back to Earth have been studied extensively by scientists worldwide. These samples revealed valuable information about the moon's geological history, its volcanic activity, and its relationship to Earth. The unique characteristics of these materials, such as their isotopic composition and the presence of micrometeorite impacts, provide irrefutable proof of their extraterrestrial origin, something impossible to fake. The program also pushed the boundaries of engineering. The Saturn V rocket, still the most powerful rocket ever built, was a testament to human ingenuity. Its successful launches demonstrated the ability to safely transport astronauts and equipment to and from the moon. Conspiracy theorists often overlook the complexity of such engineering feats, which were made possible by the collaborative efforts of thousands of scientists and engineers. Furthermore, Apollo paved the way for advances in computer science and telecommunications. The guidance systems used to navigate to the moon were some of the earliest examples of digital computing in action. These innovations laid the foundation for modern technology, including satellite communications and global positioning systems, which have transformed everyday life. In addition to its technical and scientific contributions, the Apollo program inspired a generation of scientists, engineers, and dreamers. The sheer scale of the achievement demonstrated humanity's capacity for exploration and discovery. While conspiracy theories attempt to undermine this legacy, the tangible outcomes of the Apollo missions, both on Earth and on the Moon, serve as undeniable evidence of their authenticity. Chapter 7: The Significance of the Moon Landing and Hopes for the Future. Section 1: The Scientific and Inspirational Impact of the Apollo Program. The Apollo program was much more than a technical achievement. It was a profound moment in human history that reshaped how we view ourselves and our place in the universe. The moon landing not only advanced scientific understanding, but also served as a symbol of inspiration for billions of people around the globe. Scientifically, the Apollo missions revolutionized our understanding of the moon. The samples collected and the data gathered during these missions revealed critical insights into the moon's formation, its relationship to Earth, and the history of the solar system. The discovery of the moon's volcanic past, evidence of micrometeorite impacts, and the analysis of lunar soil have all contributed to a deeper understanding of planetary processes. These findings have also provided a foundation for comparative studies of other celestial bodies, aiding future exploration of Mars and beyond. On an inspirational level, the Apollo program showed what humanity is capable of when united by a common goal. During a time of global tension and division, the moon landing offered a vision of hope and progress. The iconic image of Earth as a small, fragile blue sphere seen from the lunar surface profoundly impacted global consciousness. This new perspective inspired the environmental movement and reinforced the idea that our planet is a shared home that must be cared for collectively. The Apollo program also inspired generations of scientists, engineers, and explorers. Its success demonstrated that challenges, no matter how daunting, can be overcome with innovation, determination, and collaboration. Many of today's leaders in science and technology trace their inspiration back to the moon landings, proving the enduring legacy of Apollo's achievements. The Apollo missions were more than a Cold War victory. They were a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the boundless potential of exploration. The lessons and inspiration drawn from these missions continue to shape our pursuit of knowledge and our dreams of venturing further into the cosmos. Section 2: The Vision of the Artemis Program to Return Humanity to the Moon. The Artemis program represents humanity's renewed commitment to exploring the moon and beyond. Led by NASA, with international and commercial partners, the Artemis missions aim to return humans to the lunar surface for the first time since Apollo 17 in 1972. This ambitious program is not merely about revisiting the moon. It is about establishing a sustainable presence and using the moon as a stepping stone for future exploration of Mars and other destinations in the solar system. A central goal of Artemis is inclusivity. Unlike the Apollo missions, which exclusively featured male astronauts, the Artemis program aims to land the first woman and the first person of color on the moon. This effort reflects a commitment to diversity and equality in space exploration, inspiring a new generation of explorers from all backgrounds. By broadening representation, Artemis seeks to show that space exploration is truly a global endeavor, Another key aspect of Artemis is its focus on sustainability. The program plans to develop permanent infrastructure on and around the Moon, including the Lunar Gateway, a space station in orbit around the Moon, and surface habitats. These facilities will enable longer missions, providing astronauts with opportunities to conduct extended research and test technologies necessary for future Mars exploration. By learning to live and work sustainably on the Moon, humanity will gain the skills and knowledge needed to survive on other planets. The Artemis program also emphasizes international collaboration. NASA has partnered with space agencies from countries such as Canada, Japan, and those in the European Space Agency (ESA). This cooperation highlights the global nature of modern space exploration and demonstrates that humanity's greatest achievements are accomplished through unity. With its ambitious vision and focus on the future, the Artemis program builds on the legacy of Apollo while charting a bold new course. It embodies the idea that humanity's exploration of space is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. Section 3: The potential of future space exploration sparked by lunar missions. The Apollo program not only achieved the remarkable feat of landing humans on the Moon, but also set the stage for a future of unprecedented exploration. Today, the Artemis program continues that legacy, sparking a new era of innovation and discovery. With the Moon as a proving ground, humanity is preparing to push further into the cosmos, and the potential for future space exploration is more promising than ever. One of the most exciting prospects is the exploration of Mars. NASA and its partners view the Moon as a critical stepping stone for reaching the Red Planet. Technologies developed for Artemis, such as lunar habitats, advanced propulsion systems, and sustainable life support, will lay the groundwork for long-term missions to Mars. The challenges of living and working on the Moon will provide invaluable insights into what it takes to survive in even harsher environments like Mars. Beyond Mars, lunar missions are expanding humanity's understanding of the solar system. The Moon serves as a natural laboratory for studying planetary processes, offering clues about the history of Earth and other celestial bodies. Scientists are also exploring the potential of using lunar resources, such as water ice found at the Moon's poles, to create fuel and support human colonies. These breakthroughs could make deep space exploration more feasible and sustainable in the long term. Commercial space exploration is another avenue being shaped by lunar missions. Companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and others are working alongside NASA to develop reusable spacecraft and innovative technologies. This collaboration is making space more accessible and affordable, opening the door for private ventures to contribute to exploration and even space tourism. Ultimately, the potential sparked by lunar missions goes far beyond technology and science. The Moon represents a shared goal that unites humanity, transcending borders and divisions. By venturing further into space, we not only expand our horizons, but also gain a deeper appreciation for our home planet and our collective future. The dreams ignited by the Apollo program and carried forward by Artemis are a testament to what we can achieve when we dare to look to the stars. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.